I sat sweating in anticipation as Simon, the guy interviewing me, left to grab the owner. The interview had gone well, and Simon thought I should have my second interview on the spot. I was seated in a bustling bowling alley at a table behind the lanes. It was loud, bright, and full of energy, a far cry from anywhere I'd imagined working. My only recent job experience was a brief stint at a COVID testing clinic, as I'd been homebound for most of the pandemic. This job felt like my chance to reconnect with the world after years of isolation. The owner seemed to like me well enough, and I started as a front desk receptionist 2 days before Thanksgiving. Over the next year, I embraced the role with gusto, using my charm and humour to welcome guests. My laugh echoed through the centre, and I became a familiar face that regulars looked forward to seeing. I felt I found an opportunity to thrive, but it didn't take long to notice deeper issues within the workplace. Nepotism was evident. The general manager was the owner's son. Shift assignments were based on favouritism rather than merit, and cross-training was often discussed but rarely executed. For instance, every receptionist was supposed to be trained in the arcade within 2 weeks of starting. It took them almost a year to train me. Despite the dysfunction, I quickly became a sounding board for my co-workers. My years of management experience gave me a unique perspective, and employees often came to me to vent frustrations. I listened, empathised, and tried to boost morale. But even as I became a source of comfort for my peers, my own trust in the system was wearing thin. I nearly quit during my first year. I even handed in my notice after they promoted Hannah, a recent college graduate, to a management position just 2 months after hiring her. I adored Hannah, but the promotion stung. I had been vocal about my qualifications and leadership abilities, so being overlooked felt like a slap in the face. Management convinced me to stay, promising they had a plan for me. And they did. Simon, who managed both the arcade and birthday departments, was leaving, and they offered me the position of birthday manager. I loved the role. Helping parents enjoy stress-free events was rewarding, and the birthday host readily followed my lead. It was fulfilling work, though I later learned Hannah's promotion had been tied to her bowling expertise, a detail that would have eased my frustration had it been shared earlier. Outside of birthdays, I supervised the floor a couple days a week, particularly during the summer when parties slowed. I built relationships with regulars, including senior bowlers, whose cheerful smiles brightened my hardest days. One guest, Tuan, even baked me a lasagna. I also grew close to groups of adults with special needs who visited regularly. One woman who had adopted 3 special needs adults touched my heart deeply. Her daughter Jessica, who was mostly non-verbal, lit up whenever she saw me. We took a picture together, which her mum framed on their wall. For Christmas, they gave me a Build-A-Bear voice box to record a message for Jessica, a reminder of how special she was. The friendships I built with co-workers made my job even more fulfilling. Charmaine, the cook and my work wife, immediately got my sense of humour. Courtney, a fellow manager, became a trusted confidant. Tristan, Hannah, Jenna, Marn, Matty, Jenny, and so many others added laughter and camaraderie to my days. The birthday hosts, especially Nadia, Sonia, Kiara, Rio, Brianna, Genevieve, and Aspen, were my team, and I took pride in supporting and mentoring them. Despite the joy I found in these relationships, the cracks in management were hard to ignore. Decisions were often shrouded in mystery. Issues like harassment and microaggressions were brushed aside, with little regard for how they affected staff. I even suggested a simple script to address inappropriate guest behaviour, but it was dismissed unless it disrupted other guests. As a gay person, I never felt entirely safe. Management's disregard for labour laws was another red flag. While lunches were technically paid, they were rarely taken in full for certain roles, including mine. We were expected to eat when we could, ready to work at a moment's notice. I knew it was illegal, but I justified it as what's best for the business. Over time, it became clear that management valued compliance over morale. Employees who raised concerns were terminated under flimsy pretexts, creating a culture of fear. The tipping point for me came when a co-worker, Sienna, was let go the day before she was set to return from school. If they had informed her sooner, she could have been searching for another job. Instead, they left her blindsided. The disregard for basic decency left me disgusted, but I still fought for my co-workers. I advocated for them only to be dismissed by management, who prioritized excuses over solutions. The open door policy felt like a trap, a way to weed out dissent rather than to address it. One day I arrived at work ready for another day of managing birthdays. Instead, the general manager called me into his office and fired me. They wouldn't tell me what I had said or who I had offended, just that I had crossed the line. I was stunned. My co-workers and I had joked and had candid conversations. I had even been asked what it was like getting a blowjob without my dentures in, multiple times. So what could I have possibly said? I reached out to everyone, desperate to apologize if I had hurt someone, but no one had answers. In hindsight, I suspect it wasn't about what I said. My growing awareness of the toxic environment likely made me a liability. My dismissal was their way of silencing me. The fallout was immediate. Nadia quit the same day, and Charmaine almost followed weeks later. Both had spent years at the alley, but finally reached their breaking points. Plus Ben and Didi just walked out one day. It felt like the place was crumbling now. Despite the pain, being let go turned out to be a blessing. The resentment I carried melted away, replaced by relief. I missed my regulars and co-workers, but I realised how much lighter I felt without the weight of the alley's dysfunction. Now I'm working in a hotel. I don't know if it's a long-term fit, but I'm building new connections and continuing to shine in every role I take on. I've learned that my worth isn't tied to a single job or a place. The bowling alley taught me how resilient I am and how much I can contribute, even in a challenging environment. No matter where life takes me, I know one thing for sure. I'm better off never stepping foot in that bowling alley ever again.